welcome back to Crankin Out Crafts. We're going to continue today with our stain or glass stain for plastic or glass. We've got all these great colors that we've been using on plexiglass or thin sheets of plastic and also on vases. I'm going to show you a couple tips and techniques that have helped customers and questions that have come up. So one of the things is, after you have already done your project, you don't want to store it against another piece of plastic or against something. What will happen if any humidity or heat applies to it and it sticks together, some of it may peel off. So you just want to make sure you don't set these next to each other or against something. Also, you don't want to lean it against any paper objects because they will have a tendency to possibly stick there. Not that this is super tacky, but if paper is pressed against there for any amount of time, it may leave a little piece of paper behind, and you don't want that. The other thing is, make sure that you pop all your bubbles when the glue or when the glass paint is still wet. Otherwise, you will end up with lots of bubbles inside your piece once it's dry. They don't automatically go away. I also wanted to share with you, when you're doing a vase like this, if you choose not to do the black outline all the way around, and that would act as a border so the paint doesn't go to the other side, you need to be very careful when you go to the edge and stop. I'm going to say maybe 1/8 of an inch before. Just like this. I draw a small border. You can see on this side it's kind of maybe going to come over. You don't want to do that. But I can control it within these edges that I've done over here. So be aware of that. Something else that I've noticed is sometimes on the hand-blown glass or some type of glass that might possibly be uneven or have a little dip in it, the paint has a tendency to go to that area. So maybe you can feel your glass or tell if there's a dip or a divot in it. So just don't put a lot of paint in that area. But actually, it's not that bad from far away, and when it's sitting there, it just looks like a nice piece of artwork. I also wanted to show you that if you want to paint the color on, the colors don't mix well, but you can try. And if you want to paint the color on, I'll just show you what happens. So I'm going to lay two colors next to each other. If you remember before, we used a toothpick or a pen to pull the color through. So you can get some really neat marbleizing kind of effects like that. But I'm actually going to brush the colors together, just so you can see how it sort of blends or how it reacts. Maybe you want this look, maybe you don't. But that is what happens when you have two colors and you brush them together. You can brush this rather than just using the tip how we have been, but you want to make sure it's nice and even. And you can get that by, there's probably enough paint on here where I can just kind of dab it and it'll kind of level itself out. Also, you want to make sure you get it right up to the edges. This paint has a tendency to pull away from the black, so you want to get it right up into those edges. All right, so those are your tips and tricks for today. And we hope you enjoy using the new glass stain product by Deco Art.